Okay, welcome back. Remember last video we made this journal cover using the Sunprint Suite. And so in this video we are going to work on the pages. Now since I am making two, I already have one with pages complete, but I wanted to go over with you how to put the pages together. So I'm going to show you the different selections that I have. I'm doing a total of 15 pages. That's going to make it times 4, 60 journal pages. So I've decided that I wanted some Sunprints paper in it. And actually through this process I have finished up except for some scraps which we'll be using in this, so we'll probably use quite a bit of what I have left. But I wanted some scrapbook or some of the Sunprints in it. This piece here I actually had just a small piece, and well, no, this one here I just cut the paper so that I could have two small pieces, and this is a standard 8.5 by 11 folded in half. So the other selections of papers that I've chosen a couple pieces of wallpaper that I have to put in there, and I have a couple pieces of the blue. This is a blue dyed paper that I have in my stash, and all you're gonna do for the pages is when you get them, cut them down to 8.5 by 11 if they're bigger than that, and then just fold it in half. So I have some of the blue pages. I have some coffee dyed paper here, folded in half. Those are going to be some of my pages. I have some of this grid paper, so I have that folded in half. A different style of that paper. And the other part of this was an 11 by 17. I just cut it in half and put that in there. Then I have this really pretty stationery that I have in my stash. I thought that would look good since we're sticking with the blues. And I have one more piece of, I have this envelope also that we're going to put in there, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that in a minute. But I have one more piece of 12 by 12 to cut down so that I can include it in my pages. So I thought it would be easiest to cut it, since you need it 11 inches wide, to cut that strip off first. Take an inch off. That's what we're gonna do. And this on this side does have this going up, and that's why I'm taking an inch and making 11 wide, because we're gonna fold it in half. And the other side has this fun print. So we're gonna take an inch off. There we go. My blade kind of fell out. Okay, an inch off here. So now it's 12 by 11. I'm gonna turn it this way and cut it to 8.5. And then we end up with this. Now I have officially cut all the 12 by 12 pieces I have up. So now I have a pile of scraps that we're going to have fun with in a later video. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half. And before I do that, one of these is going to be my center page. I think I want to fold it this way. So the one where it's going to open in the center, you want to decide which piece is going to open, and I want this side to open. I'm going to have something that's going to break it up. So now we just need to put these pieces together. I typically like to put a piece of scrapbook page in as my first and last pages, so that when you open up your journal you see this beautiful beautiful paper. So now got that as a scrapbook. There we go. This is other. Now I'm going to go ahead and just start sticking pages in here. I think I'm going to stick a piece of coffee dyed in there and throw this little piece of wallpaper in. Then let's do some graph. And then let's see what we got. And you can always rearrange it if you want something different. I'm going to go ahead and stick another piece of coffee dyed and then stick this wallpaper in there. Just put these in there. Stationery. This piece. Let's stick the blue paper in there. Coffee dyed. That piece. The piece of coffee dyed and this. Okay. So there's our signature. I'm just going to go through and flip the pages and see if I like the papers, how they are. I kind of want to break up any monotony. We're going to do more, but I kind of want to spread out some of the patterns. That's really heavy pattern right there. And there's a lot of coffee dye there, so I think that's blue. I think I'm going to take this and break up some of this pattern here. There is a lot of pattern right there. Let's flip these two pieces here. Flip these around. Okay, that's good. I think. One more time. And you can always switch it later. We are not going to be sewing in today. What we're going to do is prep our pages. Typically, when I make journals, I just put the pages together and then sew them in my journal, but I want to do something else with the pages because I really want to focus on the stamp set. Okay, so we have this envelope. I found this. I have a bunch of vintage cards and some cards people gave me that I could repurpose. So this is a aged envelope. And what I want to do is make a pocket, a double-sided pocket out of it. So what we're going to do, actually I'll grab this one, we're going to go ahead and seal it. Seal it closed. Okay. So what I thought I would do, I have not used these basic border dies yet, and I thought it would be kind of fun to have a border instead of just cutting a straight edge on this. So what I did is I centered this this scalloped edge. I centered this on here. It's close, this top part as close to the edge as I could, and then taped it down and cut it. And because I'm making two journals, I have one prepared. So let me get that out. And I don't have a lot of space, so I don't want to bring up my big cutter. Alright, so after cutting it, you'll end up with this really pretty edge right here on either side that you'll be able to open. Fold it in half, and there's a pocket. And typically, for those that don't know, a lot of times journalers or junk journalers like to make pockets to stick additional ephemera that could be added to the journal that the recipient could play with. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to the center. That's going to help break up this pattern a little bit. And we're going to decorate. We're going to have fun decorating with this, and I'm thinking about adding another pocket with a journal card. But anyway, we'll go through that. So here are my pages. Those are ready to be sewn into a journal, except we want to do some decorating. So what I've done is taking my colors. Now I don't have any Starry Sky paper, not a stitch of it. I used every single bit of the stuff that I had. So I really wanted to incorporate Starry Sky because it is part of the kit in the colors and the combination. So we're just going to be incorporating it through ink and through stamping. So I didn't want to do a journal without playing with our stamps. So I'm going to stamp on this, and we're going to stamp on I'm going to stamp not on the coffee dyed papers or the papers with patterns, but anything like this blue paper. This does have a pattern. I don't know if you can see it. It's got like a lacy doily pattern on it. But on the blue papers and the white, and I'm going to do it in such a way so that the ink doesn't link through to the other side. Because though I want to decorate the edges, I want it to be so the person can write, and so light enough. One more thing I forgot though, put this all back together here. So typically, as you're putting in pages, if you notice they don't all line up. I did cut the other one that I'm making, so I'll show you that with an X-Acto knife, so that it's not a smooth edge, but it's a little bit more even to the first page. As you're adding pages, this is going to jut out just a little bit. A couple of ways you can do that. You can leave it. Most of the time I leave this. Sometimes I straighten the edges. You can take a cutting mat, put a cutting mat underneath, take a razor blade like this, and just put a ruler up to the edge and go through and cut layer through all the layers. You can also take it through your paper cutter and just mark with a pencil or something and just shave off a little bit, or you can leave it. That one I shaved, this one I think I'm gonna leave. So what we're gonna start with is you have to decide what stamp you want to use. I have them all on a block here because I'm gonna use them all. I'm looking for my papers. Here they are. I have a stack of just regular typing paper so I can stamp off, because we're going to do 3rd and 4th generation stamping on the pages. So since this pattern has those patterns on the inside with the gray, I think I'm actually going to do the flower on this. So I'm going to grab the flower stamp, and I'm going to use Starry Sky. So if you want to see what type you're going to get, here's the first, here's the second, and here's the third. I'm going to do 3rd generation stamping because it's not going to bleed through the light through the other side, and it'll provide a pattern but be light enough to write over if the recipient chooses to do that. So I'm going to just leave that on the side. I'm going to make a mess here, but I'm going to be, getting this ready to stamp here. So just my pattern is get the small flower, then I try to get the whole stamp, and then switch it and just the flower. Stamp off. And it doesn't matter if it's perfect. It's part of the fun. So I'm just going to get the flower there. Now, with using all these blue inks, my fingers are a little blue because I was doing this on the other one. So there's that edge. That makes a really pretty page edge, and it doesn't leak through the other side. So we're going to do this one as well. I'm going to get some of this off here. Okay. And we're just going to continue to do this all the way up. Okay, there's that. Now, I am going to do the inside of it as well, but I'm going to pick a different stamp. I'm going to clean this off in a different color. Since we have the coffee dye this next page, you don't have to do this on both sides on every page. On this specific one, that's what I did in the other journal that I'm making. Okay, so I think for this we're going to go ahead and go with the Night of Navy. And I'm going to go with this bigger, whoops, take that all off there. Stick that there. Okay. I'm going to go with this bigger one, and I want to see this one right here we're going to use. So ink that up. 1, 2, 3. Yep, we're going to do 3 on that one as well. 1, 2. And just do whatever pattern you want to do on this. That paper edge. Now we're going to do this one. All right, both sides of those have been stamped. Clean up my stamp here. Okay. And that makes a huge difference in the decoration of your journal. So here we have stamped flowers on that side, and then that larger stamp there. And you continue doing that on whatever pages you want, or not at all if you don't wish to. I'm going to go and stamp only on this side, but not that side, because there's a pattern on it already. Same thing with this paper, only this side. Same thing, that, only that. That's what I'm going to do. And then this blue will be double-sided. And anything with the paper for me will be just the one-sided. Okay, so I'm going to show you, instead of just stamping every page in here, what I have done on this other one. Close this ink pad up. Okay, so here is the signature for the other journal. This is Starry Sky, and I stamped with a different pattern based on what's in there. And then I did the ferns here and the Pacific Point. There's that piece of scrapbook paper or DSP. This one here I did the paints, the splotches, just to have fun with, just to add texture. That's another fun thing about if you have some old vintage. I have a whole bunch of little pieces of vintage wallpaper, and it adds a texture. Like this has some sparkle to it, and it's textural. There's that. I believe that was Night of Navy. So we've got that. This did bleed a little bit through to a little bit, but that's okay. This one, I don't know if you can see. I actually did this one in gray granite just to bring some more of the gray in. There's a little bit of gray in. Since this paper was blue, I decided to do the gray granite. This is an old vintage piece of wallpaper, and I put it in there because of blues. And it's not straight, and I'm okay with that. Here's some more splotches. And it goes with this. We'll be adding, I have scraps of this, so we'll be adding that. And there's the center section, which will have the other envelope in it, which will have this in there. And we're gonna do something fun with this. This is gonna be a really fun piece to do. Okay. So that is our signature. Once I get everything prepped and ready, I'll do another video where we'll sew in the signature, and then we will start even more decorating with our scraps. So make sure, if you're following along, you save all of your scraps. Here's my paper scraps. I've pulled every scrap in the color family for this paper, which is I have Pacific Point, Night of Navy, and gray granite. I do not have Starry Sky. I really want Starry Sky. And then I have some scraps of the wallpaper that I did have to cut down so it would fit. So we'll probably utilize these. And then I'm gonna mainly focus on the stamp set and the dies in this. So we're gonna be playing with some of these other dies as well to help decorate. So, all right. So I hope you are joining me on making a journal with our beautiful DSP, and I will see you in the next video.